This video is specifically to provide instructions of how to use the Helium Hotspot witness comparator software which I've written. It essentially allows you to look at a snapshot of data, say however big you want it, but essentially you capture the beginning and end of the data. That can be over hours or days or even weeks, and then you tell the software where the midpoint is, as in where your configuration changed and you got new data, and from that point backwards was the old configuration. So you basically put that data in, and then it gives you all of the analysis, so you can very clearly see if your changed configuration is better or worse. So let's get down to it. This is how you use the software and install it and get it going. So essentially what you need to do initially is to capture the data, and for that you use the page you see now. Essentially what you do is this is just a random hotspot I've put in. You just search for your hotspot up here, get to your hotspot, and then over here you select activity, okay, and then you select beacons. So this filters everything down to just the beacons. Okay, I just woke it up. Had to pause the video. Right, so once this screen is loaded on activity and beacons, the data that we want to extract is embedded into each one of these witnessed beacons that we're going to be expanding out. And it's quickest and easiest for you to do that by scrolling down as far as the data is that you want to capture. So that needs to capture both the before and after. So for instance here with so it looks like there's not much activity, so what we'll do is we'll scroll down and maybe we'll get 3 days of data. So scroll down to say here, and now what we're going to do is we're going to expand out all of the witness beacons and nothing else. So we won't be expanding out the broadcast beacons or the beacon or anything like that, or challenges, nothing. So only the witness beacons we're expanding out. So it's important that we expand out every single one of the witness beacons. If we miss one accidentally, for instance, if we didn't expand that out and we expanded that one out, the data capture would stop at this point here. It would stop at this witness beacon where my mouse is, and it wouldn't be capturing anything below it. So it's important that we expand out every single one of these. Okay, I'm going to pause the video and complete this task, which will take me another maybe minute or so. Hold on. Just very quickly, I'm expanding out slowly. Challenge beaconer is not a witness beacon. I'm not expanding this one, so I carry on up. I'll be back. Again, I've come across an invalid witness, witness too close. Even though it's an invalid witness, you still want to see the data, and you must expand all witness beacons out. So I'll expand that out. Okay, I'm going to continue up. Okay, so as you can see, at the top of the list, I've expanded out all the witness beacons, and now what I want to do is, if your window isn't selected, just click into this area with your left mouse button, and then press Control A. That essentially selects all the text on that web page. And now if you press Control C, it copies that into memory, so you're able to paste it somewhere. So once you've done that, just load up a notepad. Here we go. So this is a blank notepad, and within here you just press Control V, which is paste. Alternatively, you could do the right mouse button and do a paste, but I find Control V is much easier. So here you can see everything has been pasted in. Now what you want to do is to save this data. So you do, okay, you can't save it yet because you need to save it into the right place. So this is ready to save. Now what you want to do is to run the program which I produced, and I'll show you that. This one here. So let's just run this and start it up. Okay, here we go. So do you need instructions on how to configure stuff for the first time? If you're running it for the first time, you say yes. Then it asks to create a folder called Hotspot Archive on your C drive. And yes, I'd like it to do it for me, or alternatively you could do it on your own. So say yes. So then it creates, hopefully you get a created message there, and in your local disk, your C drive, you should have Hotspot Archive created. As you can see on the left, it just created it. And then it gives you instructions of what you need to do to upload the data and then run it. So far, we've already done 6 is ultimately where we got to, which is to paste the data in. And now in the notepad, we need to do a file save as and navigate to our new directory. So we've created our Hotspot Archive here. So now we can go back to our notepad and do file save as, and we want to call it uppercase D for data, and we want to navigate to our Hotspot Archive on the C drive. And you can either press enter or save, either will work. Okay, so now I've saved it. We can now exit that, we don't need it anymore. If we go to the Hotspot Archive folder, you can see it's now stored in there, so it's ready to be processed. Right, so now we've effectively finished the setup, and now we press enter to continue. The first time you do this, it will just exit. So now you just start it up again. We no longer need instructions, so we say no. And now you can see it's loaded in 84 witnesses that it's found. The first witness being on this time and date, the last witness being on this time and date. So it's 3 days of data approximately. And now what it's asking us to do is to identify a witness time and date that we want to be the transition point before the before and after. So let's go and find that particular witness that we want to use. We can either look in our data file, or we can see that on our within here. Okay, if we go back, maybe we'll go back to say here. Say on the 25th of March at 7:38, we'd already changed our setup, and we'd got the very first witness on that new setup. This is the time and date that we want to put in, and then it will compare everything from this point upwards as the new setup and the witnesses with anything prior to that for the past 3 days. So if we remember that 25th of March at 7:38 p.m, that's what we want to put in. So this was 7:38 p.m, 7:38 p.m. Notice there's no lead-in zeros on the 7, and it's 12-hour clock format, and it was the 25th of March 2022. And now press return. It obviously found the time and date because it could continue. If it didn't find that, it would ask you again. So here it's listed out all of the witnesses that it's found within that window, and if we press enter again, it now analyzes it and gives the results in a format that's hopefully easy to understand. So if we look at this, we can scroll up. So here you can see what it does is it says for the recent configuration, it names them recently. It gives you the witness name, the time, date, R, SSI, and also signal to noise ratio. If there's no witnesses that have been found which are common, from the same witness name, it can't list them, so it just shows you. Here, for this witness here, it was previously witnessed with the older configuration a day previously, and here you can see how the strength and signal to noise ratio may have shifted. And again, for these ones, obviously there's not a great deal of data here, but you can see it's produced data very quickly for you, which would have taken you maybe a few hours of analysing. And here you can also see that the data has been saved in the data comparison.output.txt. So there's another file that's been created. So if I press exit, it now finishes, and here in your archive you can see the file. If I double click that, it's all the same data that you've just seen, all listed nicely for you. And what you could do is you could put that into Excel and do other analysis if you wanted to. So hopefully you found the video useful, and a like and subscribe would be fantastic. Cheers, bye.